How's it going, everybody? As always, God bless you and thank you for being here. I'm Gage and this is Candy Coral Aquatics. If you're new to my channel, please think about subscribing and hitting that notification bell. This is where I talk about all things reefing, but more importantly, where I share the information I've gathered with you guys on my tank to help you become better hobbyists at the hobby we call reefing. Today's video, I just want to put some worries to bed, or some speculations to bed. Basically, I just want to talk to you guys about algae in the aquarium very briefly. So, you know, algae in the aquarium is undesirable, and we believe that it's undesirable and think that it's undesirable because it's undesirable to the eye, right? And too much algae obviously can cause a very bad thing. You know, it can grow over the corals and just cause all sorts of, you know, mayhem in your tank. So yes, it is undesirable, but when we look at the wild, okay, algae is actually very beneficial for a lot of different reasons, and it is a sign of a good, healthy environment. So if you're having some nuisance algae in the aquarium, you know, do some testing, do some water changes, figure out where the algae is coming from, but just know that not all algae that's forming inside of an aquarium is necessarily a bad thing or necessarily a sign that you're doing something wrong. And what I mean specifically is film algae. So everybody has film algae, and what this is it's actually the algae that forms on the glass. So when we're talking hair algae, brown algae, you know, that really thick matted stuff that encompasses the rocks, yes, that is a very big problem and something that needs to be addressed immediately because your nutrients and phosphates are way too high. That's where it's coming from. But the very thin layer of dusty algae that forms on the glass really is something that everybody has. And I'm going to kind of prove this to you guys, okay? Because I've had some people in the past, you know, look at my tank and say, oh, you have algae on the glass, you know, your tank must be off, or, you know, isn't that bad for your coral, yada, yada, yada. No, okay? I'm going to show you guys, I'm going to prove to you guys, and then I'm going to explain a little bit what this algae is. So what I have here in my hand is a HannaChecker. It's a phosphate checker, and right now, as you guys can see here, it's actually timing itself down. All right, so we've got about 43 seconds left on the timer here. So what I'm gonna do, let me go turn on my bedroom light here so that way we can actually get a little bit better view of the HannaChecker. And I did have a light bulb kind of go out over where, kind of by where the tank is. There's several rows of lighting in this room, but we should be able to see the checker a little bit better now. So you can see we've got about 15 seconds left. And what I'm gonna show you guys here is kind of, you know, some proof that we don't have to worry about things too awful much. So let's go ahead and let this count down. 3, 2, 1. And we're going to get our phosphate reading here. 0.00. Okay, so my phosphate's actually 0, which is not necessarily a good thing either. So that just means I need to kind of cut back a little bit on the filtration. So what I'm getting at here, guys, is a couple days ago my phosphate was 0.02, which is really perfect. And then I actually added a little bit of phosband back into my reactor, or my canister filter, because I had gone a long time without running any. So I said, well, I'll go ahead and put some in there. So within a couple of days, it's now gone down to 0.00. Which is not good. Okay, so I need to actually turn that off and get a little bit of phosphate back into the aquarium. But the reason I'm going over this is because I have film algae on my glass. Now, where this comes from, so yes, it does come from a little bit of nutrients in the water, right? That's where all algae comes from. But primarily, it's coming from our lighting. So we have very, very strong lighting. And I apologize, my camera kind of unfocused there, so now everything looks really blue again. But we have very, very strong lighting within the aquarium, right? And that very strong lighting is what's actually creating this dusty film algae with combination of a little bit of nutrients in the system. So that's what you guys have to brush off the glass, you know, every couple of days or every day, depending on how strong and how long your lights are running. But don't assume that because you have this film algae that you have, you know, high phosphates or that you have an issue going on in the tank. I just showed you guys my phosphates are actually too low. So now when I'm done with this video, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to correct that as well. So like I said before, guys, don't stress too much. Don't, you know, look at your tank and be like, oh my gosh, I have all this film algae, my nutrients must be high. The point that this video is making is test and test often, because things can change and they can change pretty rapidly. So don't go into it thinking, oh my gosh, I must have a nutrients problem because I have all this film algae on my glass, or oh my gosh, there must be something wrong with my tank, when that's not even really the case at all. So learn to test often, learn how to use your test kits. If you don't like the test kits you have, maybe find something else that you can use a little bit, better, that's going to be more accurate for you, and then let that be the deciding factor into what you do next. Just like, well, today I realized my phosphates are too low, now I'm going to have to get in here and dirty stuff up a little bit. So I hope this video has helped. Again, it was just something I just decided I was going to turn the camera on and talk to you guys about, because too often I see people over-examining their tank, thinking that something's wrong, and then they get in there and start playing with stuff only to find out that everything really was fine and they ended up creating an issue on their own. So until next time, guys, take care, God bless, and I guess it's time for my tank to get dirty. See you guys next time.